be back with another episode of Let's Keep It Real Sports Talk, keeping it 100% facts, 0% feelings. So here we are, man. Last episode, we talked about defensive coordinators and, who would be good fits, potentially who was out there, who may come. It's a lot of rumbling about will Mullen be here next year? Will he not, especially after that Sanford game? We don't know. At the end of the day, we don't know. So all of this is would take into account that Mullen will be here next year. So this week we're talking about O-line. I haven't seen any video, not one, about what we're going to do about the O-line coach, which is probably definitely the second most important coach behind the defensive coordinator right now. Of course, we all know John Hevesty has been relieved of his duties. He was with Mullen and Meyer the whole time. I mean, I think he's with them since the Bowling Green days. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he was with them at that time. So he's been around. I mean, he's been with the SEC. He's been back and forth. He's been with Mullen. He's had great seasons being the O-line coach to our number one team, ups and downs. His issue really is recruiting. I think it's recruiting and more than anything. I think development-wise, he was okay, not great, but he got guys to the league. But his process was just slow, probably old and outdated. Making the kid come in, sit 2 years to get their body ready for SEC play, when these kids nowadays are ready. They're ready to come in and play. So I think that was the biggest issue with letting him go, and the O-line just taking a 180. So what we're going to do this episode is pretty much compare and contrast some available options that we have for O-line coaches. So what you're going to see right now is Florida's ranking based off of today. This is after the Sanford game. They're 31 in scoring offense, scoring 33.5 points a game. They're number 9 in total offense with, 492 yards per game. 29th in tackles for loss allowed. So tackles behind the line of scrimmage, just 4.3 per game. Rushing offense, number 9 in the nation with 227.6 per game. Sacks allowed, they're averaging less than 1 per game. Number 34 in passing offense with 264 per game. And number 29, first down offense. They've gotten 232 first downs this year so far. Compared to a lot of other positions, this is definitely a good one. I mean, I know as far as what we want to see on a consistent basis, we don't factor in here penalties. I couldn't find the breakdown of offensive line penalties per game. So I think Florida would definitely probably be one of the worst ones out there. If you could measure strength, strength and power, we would probably be at the bottom as well. For whatever reason, we're just not strong up front. We're not stout. We are big, but big doesn't cut it. You have to be strong. And definitely, I think the next offensive line coach is going to have to be someone who understands we need strength, we need stoutness, and we need just that nasty attitude, that nasty tenacity. So the first person who we're going to bring up is everyone's darling, who everybody wants in, Phil Trotman. He's a 2-time All-SEC player at the University of Florida, 2006, 2008. He was also a team captain twice. He was there for the golden years under Mullen and Meyer. So he was there for the championships. He's currently the offensive line coach at Penn State. So as you can see, Penn State is 83rd in scoring offense, scoring 26 points a game. Total offense, they're 378.9 yards a game. They're 115th in FBS with tackles for loss allowed. So they're allowing about 6.7 tackles for loss. They're 119th for rushing offense. So they only rush 106 yards per game. They allowed 2.7 sacks a game. So they're 93rd in the nation. And they're number 29 with passing offense, so 272 yards per game. and they're 78th with first down offenses. They've only gotten 207 first downs this year. He's a great recruiter. He's a Gator guy. He has the bloodline, the Gator bloodline. Former captain, national championship. He's played under Mullen. He understands his offense. He understands his personality, which is most important. He understands what is needed to win at Florida. That's the only thing that I can think of good that he will be bringing. This year, Penn State has not been great on the line. I mean, they were picked, before the season to be one of the premier offensive lines in the nation, but they just haven't done it. So I don't know if it's just a off year or this is just something, that he's had under him. I mean, he coached at Boston College before he got to Penn State. He's mentored 13 all-conference offensive linemen. Boston College, when he was there, was a top rushing offense at the time in the nation. So, is it just the fit there? Is it time over there? It's left to be seen. It's definitely left to be seen. Will he translate to coaching in the SEC? That I don't know. I mean, he was a player. He played well. He did everything as a player. But coaching and playing, two totally different things. Like I see people always bring up having the Pouncey twins coach the O-line like they're both going to be on the coaching staff. That's not a thing. You never see two full-time offensive line coaches. You may see an assistant or something like that, but you're not going to get those guys. Just because they're players, that doesn't translate to coaching all the time. Just like all coaching doesn't mean you had to have been a player. So next up from there, we have the coach that's at Baylor. His name is Eric Mateos. Hey, man, look at the numbers. This guy is good. He's very good. Baylor right now is a top performing program in the nation. One of the top performing offenses, definitely for sure. He just got there this year. He was previously at BYU. When he was at BYU, they were a top rushing offense, man. You can even see this year, they still have some remnants of when he was there. He went to Baylor following his coach from BYU, the offensive coordinator. He followed Jeff Grimes. Since 2014, Mateos has coached 13 NFL players, including 8 draft picks. He gets the guys ready. I don't know too much about his recruiting track record. I really couldn't find much on him. But he's a guy that's worked his way up from being a defensive, I believe, a Division III coach all the way up through the system. Questions, can he bring that same nastiness to the SEC? Who knows? I mean, he used to be he started off as a strength and conditioning coach early on in his career, so he definitely understands the importance of strength and conditioning, which is something that our Gators need bad, extremely bad. But the numbers speak for itself, man. The numbers speak for itself. 20th scoring offense in the nation, 35.4 points a game. 18th in the nation with total offense with 453 yards a game. 58th with tackles for loss allowed, which is 5 a game. They're number 4 rushing offense in the country. They're number 4 with in sacks allowed with 0.8 a game, which is 0.1 under Florida. They're 81st in passing offense, which is 216 yards per game, and 59th in first down offense, which has gotten 216 this year. I mean, overall, you hear the 58 and the 59, it may sound bad, but those numbers are really, separated by tenths of a point for a lot of them. The thing that stuck out to me with his numbers, rushing offense, sacks allowed, both top 5 in the country. They protect the quarterback and they run the ball very well. That's what you need with the O-line at the end of the day. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to snatch him from Baylor. Like I said, he's with Jeff Grimes. He's with his OC. He followed him from BYU. So, it's unknown. He's a Texas guy. Unknown if he will take the job at Florida. So move to the SEC. At the end of the day, SEC coaching is always premier all over the country. So, if they throw enough money at him, it's potentially something that could be done. I would go get him. He would be my choice. I definitely understand Trouton, getting him with the Florida blood and everything like that. But I mean, when it comes down to the numbers, he's probably one of the best out there. And I mean, this is all the schools in the nation. This is compared to Bama, Ohio State, UGA, Clemson, you name it, he's up there. So he would be a look. The next one we have is from Coastal Carolina. Surprising. Bill Durkin started his career as a strength and conditioning coach as well. See a trend happening? In 2020, the offensive line was named a semifinalist for the Joe Moore Award. If you don't know, that's an award presented annually to the nation's top offensive line unit. Notre Dame usually is killing it, Wisconsin, Bama, but he was a semifinalist with Coastal Carolina. They're ranked second in the Sun Belt Conference in both sacks allowed per game, which is 1.7, and tackles for loss per game, which is 4.3 on that year. So far, what we see, number 5 scoring offense, 42.3 points a game. They're number 8 in the country with total offense with 492 yards per game. They're number 40 for tackle for loss allowed, which is 4.6 a game. They're number 8 in the country with rushing offense, 228 yards per game. 31 with sacks allowed, only allowing 1.5 sacks a game. They're number 36 with passing offense, 264.7 yards a game. And they're number 29 for first down offense with 232 this year. They're tied with a couple other schools as well. Great numbers. I mean, of course, Coastal Carolina, they aren't playing up to the level of a Big 12 or ACC or SEC, Power 5. But at the end of the day, Urban Meyer was at Bowling Green, So at some point, just because they're at a smaller school doesn't mean they don't have the goods to be at the higher level. And most likely Bill Durkin can do it. So we don't know. We definitely can see he has the numbers to back it up. He's been with them for a while, for a long while. So it'll be interesting to see if he wants to make that move or not. Next school we have SMU, AJ Ricker. He's a co-offensive coordinator for SMU. He spent 2 seasons with Mizzou, so he's familiar with the SEC East. He was there 2014, 2015. And if you all remember, Mizzou won the SEC East in 2014 behind his line and, his plays. In 2020, SMU finished with the season ranked 9th nationally, first in the AAC in red zone offense. They're .920 in efficiency, which is almost perfect. They were 13th in passing offense, 15th in scoring offense, and he was a all-conference center at Mizzou from 2000 to 2003. So again, he's familiar with the SEC. He's familiar with the big boys, what's needed here, the glitz, the glamour, everything. So far for SMU, their numbers, crazy as you can see. They're 6th in scoring offense, scoring 41.6 points a game. 6th in total offense, 498 yards per game. 53rd with tackles for losses allowed, which is 4.8 game. 61 in rushing offense, 169.7. They're number 14 with sacks allowed with 1.1 a game. Number 8 passing offense, 329 yards per game. And 20th with first downs this year, 260. So you look at those numbers, you're like, man, their rushing offense isn't great. That's not what we were thinking. SMU isn't a run-heavy team. They're going to throw the ball. They're fast. They remind me of Florida last year. If you can remember with Kyle Trask and what he did passing the ball, that's SMU. And he's the he's the co-offensive coordinator at SMU. I think he would be a great hire to bring in one. The O-line's going to be great. He's young and he can develop guys, clearly. And he's a co-offensive coordinator at a pass-heavy school, and he runs the ball. Mullen leads an assistant offensive coordinator. He needs somebody that he can let take over the game while he needs to maybe talk to the defense or focus on special teams or just overall run the program. He can't run the program the way he needs to with he's focusing on the offense. Because when defense is on the field, he's talking to the offense, getting them right. When offense is on the field, he's focused on the play, so he can't coach up his defensive players. So he just needs someone else that comes in, kind of what Brian Johnson did last year. He was a co-OC with Mullen. This guy be a perfect fit. Perfect fit. The next one, surprising, Marshall, Coach Eddie Morrissey. Morrissey started at Marshall in 2021. He spent time with multiple schools. He has like over 20 years of coaching. He spent time with Chip Kelly when he was at Oregon. So, if you think of that line and what they did in the run game with those guys, with the Mariota and the special players they had, he spent time at Austin Peay and Princeton. Marshall's the top ranked offense, and the O line is the anchor for sure. There's not much info regarding recruiting again with him. Again, he's at a lot of the smaller schools. Austin Peay, Princeton, Marshall isn't a big name school, so it was hard to dig up information on him. But where he goes, the O-line follows. They're 29th in the nation with scoring offense, 33.8 points a game. Number 12 total offense with 474 yards per game. Number 12 in total tackles for loss allowed, which is only 3.4 points a game, which is big. They're number 76 with rushing offense, 148.1 yards a game. 21 sacks allowed with 1.3 a game. The number 10 passing offense, 326.2 yards a game, and they're 17th in first down offense, having 242 first downs this year. Surprising, and he wasn't even on my radar. Doing my research, whenever I would look at the stats, Marshall's always there. Marshall. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? What's going on with Marshall this year? Are they doing great? Are they that good? And I had to do some research and some digging. And I'm like, the offensive line is doing great. So it was something that definitely popped up that I was not seeing. And I think it's possible. I mean, he's an older guy. I think if he wants to move up, he spent a lot of time at the smaller schools. He did get a taste of that light, that excitement when he was at Oregon. So I don't know if it was too much for him or if he wants more of it. So it'll be intriguing to see if he would be willing to come to Florida. The next coach, this is the last one. Again, Pitt, Dave Borbley. This is another school that was not on my radar at all. But doing this research, they just kept popping up. Pitt, everywhere. Pitt, top 5, top 3, top 10, number 1. I'm like, this is crazy. Is nobody talking about Pitt's offensive line? I mean, nobody really talks about the offensive line. They only talk about you when you mess up. Me being a former offensive lineman, that's something I definitely understand. They only talk about the O-line when you mess up. That's the only time they call your name. So for Pitt, this is amazing. I mean, he's in his 4th year as Pitt's offensive line coach. He owns a long, productive history of developing outstanding linemen. Pitt offensive linemen have earned 7 total All-ACC citations over the past 3 years. Borbley's 2018 offensive line paved the way for 2 1,000-yard rushers. And Pitt, again, was selected as a semifinalist in 2018 for the Joe Moore Award given to the nation's top offensive line. Hey, when you're on that list at the end of the year as a semifinalist for that award, you're doing something great. They're number 4 in the nation with scoring offense, 43.5 points a game. They're second in total offense, 531 yards a game, 22 in tackles for loss allowed, only 3.9 per game. They're number 72 with rushing offense with 158 yards a game. Number 63 for sacks allowed, only 2.2 yards a game, 2.2 sacks per game. They're number 5 in the nation with passing offense, 373.1 yards per game, and they are number 1 in the country with first down offense. We're getting 278 first downs this year. That screams efficiency to me. When you can move the ball, that equals success. When you can consistently get first downs first downs. It's not always hitting the chunk plays. The chunk plays are fun, they're exciting, to get the people on the feet, make Sports Center top 10, all that cool stuff. But at the end of the day, it's about moving the chains, ball control, clock control. And his O line is the best in the country at doing it. He's an older guy as well, so he may come and sit. My thing with younger guys, a lot of them are on the path upward. So they may come to a team and want to stay, for a few years and then go. A lot of times, the older guys, they'll be comfortable sitting there and, if it's a good fit, they'll ride it out. He would be someone that I think will be another great fit. He's familiar with big time play at Pitt. No stranger to big games. And like I said, they are top 5 in a lot of categories. So he would be a sleeper. So, we have some big names, man. You have, like I say, Dave Borbley at Pitt, Eddie Morrisley at Marshall. You have A.J. Ricker at SMU, Bill Durkin at Coastal Carolina, Eric Mateos at Baylor, and, Florida's, prime guy, Phil Troutwin. There's some options. There's definitely some options. And all these are realistic picks. These aren't people that we're not going to go to Wisconsin and get their offensive line coach. We're not going to go to Notre Dame and get the offensive line coach. We're not going to go to Bama. We're not going to go to these big, prestigious, run-heavy schools and snatch up their offensive line coaches. It's just not happening. Especially with the situation going on in Florida. Will Mullen be there? Will he not be there? The recruiting, who's still there as a player? Is it too much to deal with starting out? Will you be there for a year and then leaving? So, it's a lot of questions, unfortunately. I wish the talk of the fire Dan Mullen would stop. Most of it's coming from Gator Nation. And I just wish it would stop and slow down and quiet out, because unfortunately it has ramifications. It's enough that it's on TV with the Sports Center guys, the Kirk Herbstreits and everyone. But when Gator Nation as your fan base is calling for the head coach, it doesn't give a coach or a player a lot of good feelings about coming there. So, we'll see what happens. Again, all of this is with that thing in mind of Mullen staying there. This is all with the idea of that he will be there. If he was to leave, of course, this video is made for nothing. But if he's there, which I'm pretty sure he will be, I'm about 90% sure he'll be there, because they made the big news, the big splash with him getting rid of Hevesty and Grantham. They wouldn't just fire 2 coaches to get rid of Mullen 3 weeks later. That doesn't make any sense. There's no one else out there right now as a head coach that's on the move or on the come up that would take the Florida job right now. So it's not smart to do it. Now, if he has the same performance next year as he had this year, and there's a coach that's out there that's, attractive, someone who would be a upgrade, because at the end of the day, you want to upgrade. And the offense with Mullen, there's not too many more above that. There's some, but, you'll be taking a risk. So we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, we're going to hold it down. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave some comments. Share this video. Like I say, I don't see many other videos out there about the offensive line. My big uglies, the big sexies, what we call them. Best athletes on the field. I don't see too many videos about this coaching. So get this video shared, get it going around. Maybe Mullen will hear it, and he'll make the phone calls and, maybe give me a job as an analyst or something. That would be dope. Anyway, man, again, like, comment, subscribe. We out.